We've been talking all day about some pretty cool stuff. And we're on the verge. I was sitting back there talking to Brian Kagan, our chief marketing officer, just before, and he said, that's just so real, so inspirational. I said, real and the truth really stands out in this world, doesn't it? Doesn't it? I mean, the thing we're doing, you don't have to make it. We're not here teaching you sales techniques. We're not teaching you how to, go out and convince people to do stuff. We're actually helping you understand how you can help yourself and then reach out and help others. It's the most natural process in the world. And if you were going to sit down and talk to someone about a great movie that you saw recently, it would just come out. And you wouldn't worry about, I'm trying to get them to go to the movie, or a million different things. Or maybe they might not like the popcorn, or the soda that comes with it. You just tell them about it with enthusiasm. You saw a cool movie and you want to share it. When you see something neat, you want to share it. And I know that's where you are right now, and I know that's where our coaches are. But you see that every day, people are being pounded. Control has become the dominant theme in America. People are trying to get people to do stuff every single day, day in and day out. And we're not doing well. I mean, the crazy things that are happening in our schools, people are just anti-control. And also, they're tired, the logos and the themes, and the pretty girl getting up and saying, wear this, and you'll get that good-looking guy, and the guy getting the car and thinking you'll get that good-looking woman. We pretty much have been saturated on it, right? And what we're really looking for are things that create well-being, to have us feel good about ourselves, to be part of something, to leave a legacy, to feel that we mattered. And those material things aren't going to get you there. So if we have this thing that we've been talking about that you all know, if you could bottle up today and take it and put people and say, time out, watch this, when someone was ready to watch it and thirsty like the guy in the desert, pretty much everybody would decide to do this. So if it's that great, and it's that wonderful, how come people aren't beating on your door 24/7 to get in to become part of this? What would you think would be the reason? Anybody? You got to give them Andy a little louder. They don't know. Okay, they may not know, but you may have just been, they what? Fear, okay, it could be fear. Or it could be, okay, it could be that. Or it could be that you just really aren't listening to others and helping move them forward. Because if we have the goods here and you're here, and basically over time, you can allow them to come here by asking the right questions, they're going to come to that conclusion because you know now, and you're seeing, and even family members, and what's great, people are coming out of the woodwork with the transformation. And part of that is, for once, you're not telling them they got to go buy something, right? See, until you awaken in somebody why it's important to them, they're not ready yet. And so what the most important thing is really learning how to, number one, talk to people, to listen to people, to understand, to control your own personal emotional intelligence, and understand the social relationships. So, we talked last year about emotional intelligence, and we spent a lot of time, and there's two main categories. There are your personal competencies, and then there are your social competencies. And the personal competencies are really basically about how you react to things and how you sense things, how you perceive things. And the social ones are how you interact with other people and how you are in a group. So I want to give you a couple examples of that, but I want to do it around, and I kind of tie this all together through the empathetic approach. So if you think about it, empathy is walking the path of another. So I'm going to give you a great example. So yesterday morning, we were in San Luis Obispo. Have you ever been there? Beautiful place, but may have the worst airport I've ever seen. It's beautiful in terms of it looks pretty, and it looks like an old quaint airport from 40 years ago, but the problem is the planes don't go. You got to get on a plane if you're at an airport, right? Because the airport starts getting old. So we are running to get in there, and Dan's parking the car, and I've got all these suitcases. We've got like 6 suitcases. It looks like we're carrying our speakers. And bottom line is I'm trying to move him in the door, and as I come back in, this lady is walking with her little kid, and she goes, "Excuse me," like this, and she's a little, terse. And I just kind of said, "Oh, well, she's just having a bad day, right?" And I thought, but God, sometimes people are a little rude. So I didn't know her at all. So I just happens to be that there's only one airplane leaving from SLO, as they like to call themselves, and she's right in front of me in the line. And I hadn't talked to her. There was no, I had high emotional intelligence. I didn't say, what are you acting like that for? I didn't say anything. I just smiled and, went on with getting what I had to do. So I'm in the line with her, and she's clearly stressed out. And what's happened is she has this little boy, cutest little boy. And so basically in the beginning, I'm kind of she's just an individual walking by the street, and then now she's in with me. And this cute little boy. And he's sitting there, and he's all excited. And all of a sudden, she turns around, and they say, it looks like our plane's going to go about 20 minutes late. So she's talking. And she's saying, yeah, we're going to Hawaii. My boss was nice enough to give me another day because I'm only going to be there for 5 days. And yesterday, I was supposed to go. But I came here and did the same drill. And I was there for 3 hours. And then she couldn't make her connection, so she went home. Now, she's back the second day. Had to take a cab to the airport. No one to bring her. Had a cab that brought her to the airport. And basically, she's there at the airport, and she's ready to go, and her little boy's ready to go. Well, then we find out that they say wheels may not be up till 11 o'clock. And all of a sudden, she had a 30-minute window with a delay. Now it's going to be overtime. And so I watched her. And the first part of that was just really having empathy. I started talking to her and dialoguing, and I was having empathetic concern from the standpoint of, first, from a cognitive area, thinking, wow, you've got a problem, and talking to her about it and saying, maybe it'll work out. And then basically that switched, because what happened was it became clear and clear she wasn't going to make it. And she's on the phone, she gets out of line and lets us go in front of her, and it's building. And then basically at the end there, by the end of the time, it was clear that her little boy didn't get to Hawaii. And that's emotional empathy, what I'm doing right now. It's about really caring and feeling, this person in the window of their life. And if I could have and had the ability to do it, I would have, tried to get a jet or something to take her over there. You know what I mean? That's how you feel. So basically, ended up, and I talked to her, and I told her to take a deep breath. I was doing stop challenge shoes with her. And so she's leaving the airport, and she had to call a cab, and we're sitting outside because the plane's delayed, and I'm sitting outside because it's so beautiful there. And she came out, and she came up to me and said, just thank you, I really needed that. Now, that didn't have anything to do with selling meal replacements, and she was overweight, she could have used them. But that's what caring about, well, it is what it is, You got to call it like it is. But the point is, that's what I'm talking about. I'm talking about empathy. So I just want to spend a couple minutes. We're going to go over. So it's really funny because, that's what you need to understand. You need to understand where they're coming from, what's going on. If a person's having that kind of situation, probably the best time for me to talk to her about getting on the program, right? She's probably about ready to go home and eat about, 3 buckets of Colonel Sanders fried chicken, because she may not know how to deal with it. But she did sense that human. We were talking the other day about having a surgical procedure and it really hurting when they were doing it. And just the nurse just putting their hand on the shoulder. That back in the Vietnam War towards the end, there were all these orphans, and they were little babies, like less than a month old. And they sent them home on a 747, so people went together, but they only had like 3 nuns that could be on there. And they had like these 300 kids on there. And actually, a few of them actually died on the way because they lacked that human warmth, that human emotion. So what I'm appealing to you today is really realize that it's not about getting anybody to do anything. It's about knowing what we have, this path we've created for Take Shape for Life, for people's health, for their healthy mind and for their healthy finances. But we need to meet them and reach them where they are. We can't just because we know how good it is, we can't go out there and just jump right in it and throw up on them. We have to actually spend the time to build a relationship, knowing that whatever happens today doesn't really matter. So here's the thing. Until you don't truly understand, until you really spend the time, you don't truly understand. And it's part of our hardwire. We are hardwired to be curious, right? So empathy, I just highlighted, that's the full definition, but just the bold one, empathy. It's understanding, being aware and sensitive, right, to another's feelings or past or present without communicating. It is a sense. It is the 6th sense. It's the people that come in a room with their emotional intelligence, come in the room, and they're just immediately talking about how bad their day was. When we might have just learned in that room that the clicker isn't working, I got to get that in as much as I can. And it's sensing when is the right time. It's understanding when you feel something. It's what Stop, Challenge, and Choose is all about, isn't it? It's about when you're not feeling quite right, it's the stop, challenge why you're feeling that way, and then make the decision that basically I'm going to choose the outcome I want here. Because think about how many times relationships and families have been broken up over stupid Thanksgiving fights over the drumstick. No, I mean, it just doesn't take much sometimes, and sometimes we don't use that. And, I like to go back to why we're like that, because we're conditioned that way. When we're little bitty kids, and if you haven't heard this, and if you have heard it, you'll get why people say about having poopy diapers now, is when we're little kids, we find out very early, when we poop in our pants, and it feels icky, right? And it probably feels good for a minute, right? And then it gets cold and gushy. And so we found out early on that what will we do? Wah! Wah! As soon as we do that, and if we do it really loud and a lot, Mom came in a hurry, right? And think about it. All of a sudden, that cold, nasty stuff and smell was gone. Your mom washed you off and then put some baby powder on there and spanked your little bottom, or your dad, and then basically put that little warm diaper on, and you felt, oh, I feel so good, right? Well, unfortunately, you've actually grown up now. And I know we don't have the ready-to-drink strawberry flavor yet. And I know that we can get better at making sure, because in my last presentation, someone let me know that there was a typo. Listen, I'm just happy to have a clicker. And I know that basically that we haven't, as a company, we haven't got it all figured out yet. But I will tell you, what does any of that have to do with you becoming a Terry and Dave Miller, or a Doug and Tia Wood, or a Kevin and Becca Tinter, or a Lisa and Jaime Castro? See, they've done it, and I got to tell you, they did it sometimes. We had a time when we couldn't actually ship products or communicate with our clients for 2 months, okay? And those people that stayed with us and overcame that resiliency and realized that they could actually change their own diaper, right, are doing really well. So I'm kind of tongue-in-cheek, but I'm really not. A lot of you are whiny babies. You're big babies, like in Avatar, right? Remember? Don't you remember that? That was one of my favorite lines of the movie. She turns around and says, you're a big baby. You're like a baby, some of you are big babies, and you keep waiting for everything to be right. And honestly, by the time everything is perfect, okay, we may be, the way things are done, and it may be getting food stamps for it, I don't know. It may be over. I mean, we may have it all done. Right now is the time to go build this business. Right now is the time to take control of your health and your life and move forward. So what kind of business are we in? Basically, what are we in? We're in a people business. So your whole role is branding yourself to the people around you. Do you light up a room when you come in or when you leave? Do you attract people where they want to spend and you got to tell them you got to go, or are they, run, Forrest, run? They're running every time you come near them. If someone's not returning your calls, there's probably a reason for that, right? It's not us. It's us individually that actually interact with our clients and create the branding. So don't underestimate the power of empathetic coaching, Those ingredients, empathy and warmth and patience, those things are the key ingredients. And by reaching out and separating yourself right now and being that empathetic, using that empathetic approach and being an empathetic coach, you will start attracting people. In fact, it's pretty amazing. So bottom line, just in review of what I talked about with the lady at the airport, cognitive empathy, emotional empathy, and empathetic concern. Cognitive empathy means you understand, you get what they're feeling. You may not feel it yourself, you don't feel it inside, but you look at it and observe it. It's part of us. We want to know more about people. 3, comprehend the mental state. You understand why they're feeling that way. In the beginning, as soon as I heard that she didn't get to go, I was feeling it cognitively at first. She had a problem. She couldn't go yesterday. But bottom line is now, I started to feel it emotionally because I'm thinking, I'm looking at this, and I got to tell you, I will tell you that when her little son looked up at her and said, I don't go to Hawaii, I'm telling you, you just might as well just shot me. I mean, I went from cognitive empathy basically to emotional empathy feeling the same. I was in residence. You know, when John F. Kennedy was killed, the whole country, one of the first times, it was the first time we were visually able to display this unbelievable tragedy that happened in America to the greatest nation. It was a changing, it was a growing up. It was a time when suddenly the innocence of America and drive-ins and all that fun stuff kind of came to an abrupt end, where we realized the magnitude that the world had changed again forever. And we all shared that, and we all felt it, and we all, during that period where there was a lot of crying going on, and the same thing with 9/11, same thing with what happened with the kids up in Connecticut last year. So basically, it's at a subconscious level, but it connects us. It's part of protecting the species. Requires higher emotional intelligence to master, because you are in that business. And unless you master it, if you let everybody that has something in their life that's tragic or going on totally impact you emotionally, with emotional empathy, it will suck your very marrow out, and you will be depressed all the time, right? See, your role in those cases, when you're working with your coaches and going through their personal things, is to recognize it and identify, but control that, and then help be that guide, be that rock that's there to help them through those things. And those things can be everything from, a tragic loss to someone to basically, they ran out of the new cookie dough bars, I mean, that's a tragedy, right? But unfortunately, some people use the same level of emotional, basically intelligence for the cookie bar as they do of losing somebody in their family. I mean, right now with my teenagers, sometimes I have a new rule in the house. If you're not bleeding, do not have that level of blood-curdling screams anymore. I mean, I expect to see an arm or something amputated if you're going to have that level. And I work with them all the time, by the way. Stop challenge when you're feeling that way and make the choice. So, okay. Now, and the other part is empathetic concern. So you can feel it feel it in here, think it in here, and you can feel it. But if you don't actually recognize, so you can see someone and be sad about it, but if you don't act on it, then you're not really showing empathetic concern, or basically compassion. Compassion is the combination. Passion means the suffering, and means suffering of another. And what we are next talking about is understanding where people are, their struggles, and have the patience and the time to move them forward. But your role is not to sit there and listen to everything they say and say, oh, it's all right. They get plenty of that in the world. Your role is to take them by the hand and help move them forward. Always redirect them. Always redirect your clients towards, if they made a mistake, redirect them. Say, you know what? Let's wake up tomorrow morning. I'm talking to you at night. Let's wake up and have a MetaFast oatmeal in the morning and start right back. Or a coach blew it with a client. Hey, I had to do the same thing this morning. I totally messed up this morning on my first talk. Basically, the slide didn't work, had a new talk I prepared for you. I had to come back. So rather than I could have sat there, could have ruined my day, or I came back and delivered the next one and kicked it out of the park, right? And listen, that's what I'm saying. It's only if you fall down and don't get up that you're not going to move forward, right? Okay. So, carrying an attachment. So here's the deal. This is a neat graphic. How does it look to be an empathetic coach? So yours, you can see they're sitting there revealing and excited. And by the way, if you're at lunch with them and your food is basically gone and theirs hasn't been touched, that means you're being a great empathetic listener, right? You're listening to them, asking motivational questions. You're asking them things that matter to them, and you listen. And in the center is the more you listen and understand what they're saying, and the better questions, and the more they feel comfortable building that trust, the more they're going to reveal what's really important to them, right? I mean, I learn all the times when I'm doing structural consulting and listening to people. Sometimes the spouses will be there together, and I'll draw them in, and basically one spouse will look at the other and says, I didn't know that. And they might have been married for 20 years. I'm not talking about old boyfriends or girlfriends. I'm talking about stuff fundamentally that was important in their life, okay? So the bottom line is, the more you learn how to do this, the more successful your business will be, from your clients, your coaches, and your business coaches and your business leaders. So the success principles these are all things you can master. And I'm going to stand up to finish. I only got about 4 minutes. If I sit here, I might just put you guys to sleep. So here's things you can master. Humility. Coachable and teachable. 2, personal development. 3, leading you and yours, being an empathetic coach. And 4, aim to stay. We talked about that this morning. You want to take aim, awaken people, and then have them stay by strategically, tactically, and by actions helping them and yourself. and stop, challenge, and choose, and start now. So let's talk about humility for a minute. This is the deal for most people. They think you have arrived, right? In other words, you're thinking this big bad, shark. And, and you're just a little goldfish. I'm just a little goldfish. We're just getting started in this. I was sitting there listening today, and I'm listening to what the leaders are saying and listening at lunch some of the things you're saying. I took about 5 or 6 mental notes about, wow, we need to work on that. We need to work on that. I need to work on that. The whole thing is, if you're about learning and growing, knowing you don't know everything, that's how you take your game to the next level. Hey, wherever you are in your business right now or in your life right now, it's not going to get you to the next level. It's not going to do it. You got to go do more. You got to learn and grow. You got to go into action. You got to become better. But the cool thing about this business, unlike other things, as you become better, your life becomes better with it. You feel more complete, so it's pretty cool. So coachable and teachable is there. Personal development, and I'm just going to spend the last part on this, and then we're going to do a quick structural tension just to kind of get you guys ready to go. Take 100% responsibility. I mean 100% responsibility. You are responsible. Your choices to date determine where you are in your health, in your life, in your business. I have a neat little quiz that you should go back to, Discover Your Optimal Health, which shows you where you are in terms of your current health, and then shows you where your choices are taking you. 95% of people's choices are taking them towards non-sick and disease. So if you're not that healthy and you're moving that way, that is probably a message to you. Same thing in your business. I would guarantee if you did an assessment of your business, there are many things you can do better. And what's the most accurate way for you to find out what they are? Anybody? Ask your mentor. Beautiful. Ask your mentor. Lay down like Rudder. No, I don't mean lay down, but Rudder lays down like this. He's just totally comfortable with me under my desk. You need to be comfortable that they're going to help you. And most importantly, not just stop complaining. See, if you're complaining, it means you don't really care if it's like it is, right? Because if you cared like it is, you'd do something about it, right? And if the dog's barking, you can complain about it, or you can go let the dog in, right? If your clients are not coming and your clients are not staying on the program, it's not because of your clients. It's you're not awakening them. Wherever you are in that process, listen, if you take aim to stay and learn those principles and apply that to every client and every coach, your business will move forward. Again, we have a lemonade stand in the desert, right? We have a lemonade stand in the desert. In fact, it doesn't need to be lemonade. It could just be a water in the desert, right? Okay. Emotional intelligence, we talked about. Empathetic coaching. Discipline. Discipline means doing something you don't want to do or not doing something you want to do because you're suspending the behavior to accomplish what's more important to you, right? If this business is that important to you, are your actions and your skills and your mentorship and your mentoring, are those things approaching what you really want, or are you just giving yourself lip service? And then discover your path, both your business and your personal life. And structural dynamics. Okay, so to finish up, can we put up the structural tension chart? And do you guys all have those? You guys have those at your seat? No? Yes or no? Yes. Okay, I need one. Can I have one? I guess I can't have one. I can't get anything around here today. Okay, thanks. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Is that yours?
Yeah.
No, don't give me yours. You sure? I love that. Thank you. Okay, so here's the thing. Portland area specifically, you guys are well versed. You've got Lisa Castro and the whole team really uses this a lot. But so we designed that. There's one for your goals for your business, and there's one for your desired outcome from the 12-week transformation. So I just want to simplify this for a minute for you. I think it's really important that you start thinking about it. So today, you didn't get to see all my slides in that but I actually had a scale set up, 1 to 10, where you are in terms of where you feel you are in terms of the effect on where your weight is and the effect on your life. 2, where are you on a scale of 1 to 10 in terms of healthy eating? Where are you on the scale of 1 to 10 in terms of healthy motion? Whether you're using NEAT and understanding it in your daily activity. Are you learning to spend 30 minutes a day, for a walking and weight resistance training, and are you more advanced on that? Sleeping, are you sleeping 6 to 8 hours a week? A week, yeah. That's about right now. But 6 to 8 hours a day. And then where are you in terms of your healthy mind? I mean, where are you in that space? And so what would be really good is to kind of just right now kind of think about it, where you are now in the current reality section. Spend a moment on that and just kind of think, what are of those 5, which ones really stick out and resonate with me? I mean, all of us, we need to work on all those areas. But bottom line is, if you sit down really heavy, lofty goals in each one of them, and then you're doing the same thing with your clients and coaches, you're probably going to intimidate them. So what you want to do is kind of find which is the central areas, and you guys are more advanced. And like David was saying, you're moving, more advanced because you know a lot more. But for your clients in the coming in, kind of sit down them and do a structural consulting. And what we've got is a series of questions you can ask them. And depending on, some analyzers really want to spend a lot of time and go through them in detail. But it's kind of like an interview process as you bring them in. It's just like starting any new client. Is you want to start them in the beginning, ask the questions, find out what the key areas are, and then once they find the key areas, you'll then help them start thinking, okay, so what could we do? So let's take sleep, for instance, right? So what you could say to them is, okay, so how well are you sleeping? Well, I'm not sleeping that well, and I get up in the night, and I have to go to the bathroom. And so then you could sit down and say, okay, well, 2 cool things. In the little book, Discover Your Optimal, now we have it, it'll be in actually the material that comes as they start the challenge. But actually, a great support piece for you during this challenge, because we actually put it around there, is you like to get Discover Your Optimal Health. It's a very inexpensive book. We'd love you, if you're ready to start on the program, get the comprehensive kit. But if the person isn't ready to do Take Shape for Life, at least that's one thing. The first book makes it easy for them. And then it covers those 5 major areas, and it shows them how to make a structural tension chart. So you can actually start giving them some reference material that they can use. And every one of those chapters in those key areas can be read in less than 15 minutes. A couple of them can be read in like 5 minutes. So they're very short introductions. Remember, Discover Your Optimal Health is about awakening their desire and showing them just the tip of the iceberg in these key areas. The Habits of Health is our Bible, and it is our textbook that we use to teach people the habits of health. The first book is really more awakening and kind of creating a little interest. But you can use that to get started. So when you interview someone in the beginning, or you're doing it for yourself, you want to make sure that you keep it within your grasp of something that's manageable for you. Remember, it's about little baby steps. And then talk to them about outcomes. So, okay, we know up here is 12 weeks. And by the way, they have 10 days from the day they sign up to get started, and they put their times in. What are the most important ones? And then through the challenge, they may start adding other things. So you want to start them with what's most important for them to start, and it may be they're reaching a healthy weight, may be the first part, and it may form naturally. But for other people, what's nice about this, you let them decide by being an empathetic coach who is responsible for what they want to do. Who's responsible? They are, right? You're responsible for guiding them to the pieces to where they want to go. Does that make sense? Huh? Yeah. So that's how you start. And you should do this. You want to do this weekend. You got, today you want to rest after all this. But tomorrow, spend time and go through and really make sure if you haven't, make sure you sign up for the challenge. And 2 is make sure you sit down and make your structural tension chart. And then basically, we don't have enough time for me to go over this because I need to be out of here not out of here, but I need to get off the stage. But do the same thing. Set your goals. And what I would do, like we talked about this morning, make sure you use AIM to stay. Figure out where are you in your 4 levels of integration. So if you're right now a senior coach, your first level of full integration would become a fully integrated health coach, right? So you would put that up here, and then you would sit down and write down all the things right now, the steps you need to be doing to move to become a fully integrated health coach. And as you're doing that, you want to write down when you're going to have that done by. And you want to do that, and then what you're doing. So in essence, AIM is to awaken, right? To acquire, to autonomy support, have the person that you're talking to, including yourself, really want to do it. And then the stay is in this particular thing, is the stay, the strategy, the S is actually the goal. What's the strategic plan next? Wherever you are to the next goal. And your current reality is what level you're at now. And then basically the tactics are the secondary choices. The tactics that move you forward are the secondary choices. And then basically the due dates are on here. And then you go to action. What are the daily actions you're going to do? And then what are the daily actions you're going to do with each one of your clients and your coaches to move them forward and create that? So what happens is you now have mastery where you know if it's somebody that's not part of the business yet or not a client yet, you can use this and work work with them to know where they are. So when you're communicating and empathetically coach them, you can ask questions based on, okay, you said, Sally, that you basically wanted to lose 10 pounds in the month of January. How, where are you now? What are you doing? And she may say, well, I started eating better and I stopped diet soda, but I only lost a pound, right? Or I'm cooking better, but I only lost half a pound. This would be a great time to say you might want to think about what? Using the meal replacements and Take Shape for Life to move you forward. See what I'm saying, what we do? And so it puts you in position. With a coach, if you've got a brand new coach, their first goal, strategic plan is to do what? Become a senior coach, right? Their strategy is senior coach. They need to make their list and then talk to people, and then what the due date is, and then your hands-on is to help them actually get started, right? So you'd sit down and say, okay, Sally, who are the 10 people that have been watching you as you've lost weight and gotten healthier and are really excited about this? And she says, say, okay, who of everybody couldn't wait to get on this program with you? And you say, Tim, great. Let's call Tim right now. See, you're doing hands-on with Sally. Hands-on, right? Do you see what I'm saying? It changes it so it's not this theoretical thing that you go do this, you go do this. That's not empathetic coaching. Empathetic coaching is spending that time sitting down with Sally, making sure you go through the list, and making that first call right there when you're with her. Remember, get people into motion right away, right? When Goose got killed, what did they say to do with Maverick? Right now, okay? When they're excited, they love this. You have brand new coaches that are coming out right now. You have brand new people that are in the challenge, coming in the challenge right now. This is the time for you to go to work. This is not the time to go home and watch your TiVo and all the stuff you missed during the holidays. This is your time to roll up your sleeves and go to work. Does that make sense? All right, listen, it's been an unbelievable day. I love you guys. Love Portland. Love America. Let's go get America healthy. Thanks.